Hi, hello, hi, and welcome to All Our Hearts and Minds. Thank you again for tuning in. We're here to discuss all things that have been on our hearts and minds, the good, the bad, the concerning and uplifting, or just straight talk. We're your hosts, Kimmy, our passionate heart.
Yeah.
And then there's me, Jeanette, our mind and chronic overthinker. Let's get into it.
Yes.
Okay, we're back again this week, friends. Happy to be talking to y'all and catch up with my good friend
Mm-hmm.
here. Just like we always do, let's start with a checkup. How was your week, friend?
It was okay. It went by kind of quick. It felt like it was quick, but
Yeah.
that's always a good thing. Overall, it wasn't too bad. I mean, whenever you have new people that start in your office, uh, the first couple months, it's like locks, man. But overall, I can't. You know what? I'm home. I have a job.
Yeah.
I'm alive. So there's not much to complain about this week. But how about
Mhm.
you? How about you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Had a good week. Nothing
Did you feel
too
like it went by quick?
girl. It is April something. It is April
Okay.
12th. It is April 12th, girl. April
Okay.
12th, 2025.
Shoot.
Like, so you know, as we've
Right.
learned in this stage of our lives, that time just goes by so quickly. So you gotta appreciate every little thing.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
true.
as you think about decisions that you make and everything, you know, say you're thinking about doing a program or doing a course or going on a trip or taking a
Mm-hmm.
sabbatical, whatever it is, that time go. Listen, 1 year, that ain't
Right.
shit. That ain't
That ain't
nothing.
nothing. I could do that on my head.
When
Okay.
I
Like
when I was younger, 1 year felt like a lifetime.
it literally was. I don't care what nobody tells me. It was a lifetime. It was because you know what? We just had so much to do still. You know what I mean? And yeah, but now this adulting thing, oh
Mm,
my, it's a
it
trip.
sucks. Don't let anybody try.
it,
Sorry, but
it is. It's a trip.
but if we think about it, I think I've said this before. You're an adult more than you're a child, and when you're young, you don't think of that.
No,
It never even occurred to me. This just recently occurred to me. Like, damn,
right?
I'm gonna be an adult for you're an adult for so long. So
I'm
when you
telling
talk
you,
about, do you know that your parents and older people or other people, they're always like, you cherish
right?
your college years or your high school years,
Mm-hmm.
all
Yup.
that baloney. It's not baloney.
It's not baloney, okay?
Newsflash, it's not
Listen to
baloney.
what they're telling you. Okay, please.
It
If there's any
disappears in a flash.
right, if there's any younger listeners out here listening to us, trust me, take time, yeah,
Mhm.
because it comes and it stays and it's like you're an adult forever. Trust me, I remind my daughter often. I'm like,
That's good.
listen, you're only listen, it's from 0 to 18, okay? Then after that, you're not considered a child. And then that means that from 18 until you croak, you're an adult. And let me tell you, it's not fun. It's not fun. The hype, it's a lie. Don't
Don't
fall
believe the
for
hype.
it. Don't fall for it. It's a lie. Okay, enjoy your time while you have it, while you're young. Trust
Mhm.
me, because there's nothing, at a certain point when you're an adult, it's like you don't have a lot to look forward to unless it's like a promotion or a vacation or
Mhm.
maybe a graduation of a child or
Yeah, I was gonna
something
say,
like
well,
that.
that's kind of one of the benefits I think of, having if you have children, it's like you can relive certain joyful moments through them.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. But it also reminds me that I'm old
You're
because
you remember your
I remember, I'm like,
graduation
oh
and
shoot. I remember being that young. I remember, wanting it's a constant reminder. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's,
Mhm.
it's a good thing, it's a bad everything has a yin and a yang to it, right? So
Right.
but honestly, this adulting thing, it's a trip.
So pretty much what we're saying is the fact that we went through this week with nothing too eventful.
That's just so
That's that's almost kind of a good thing. So
I'm giddy about it.
you're right.
Okay. Shoot.
So yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
that's great to hear. So let's move into our headlines. And before I go into headlines, if you're listening to us, thanks for tuning in
Yes.
again. Please rate the podcast, give us our stars, give us our fives, give us our tens,
Yes.
give us our twos, whatever it is.
Yes.
Subscribe and follow the podcast, and thanks again for tuning in.
Feedback is good. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, so we actually, I said headlines, but we're gonna kind of have a shoot the shit episode,
Yeah.
laissez faire, chill, chat,
Mm-hmm.
just talk about what's going on and how we feel about it, and keep it nice and breezy, not too much of a production.
Yeah,
And so,
last session, last time we had, it was a lot, it was a lot going on. So
yeah,
let's
yeah,
keep
yeah.
it breezy this time around. Yeah.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna start with our friend, not our friend, but the teacher, Mr. Vibes Cartel,
Yes! Vibesy. That's what I like call him. Vibesy.
Vibesy.
Vibesy, I do big things in New York, eh?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he's having a record breaking concert in New York City. And I feel like everybody is there at the
Mm-hmm.
at Brooklyn's Barclays Center. Um and also he's been doing some press obviously to promote it in New
Mm-hmm.
York City. So of course the iconic Hot 97 and also the Breakfast Club, which I saw the clip of the Hot 90, a couple clips from the Hot 97 interview, and I watched the full Breakfast Club interview. Here's a hack: when I watch the Breakfast Club,
Mm-hmm.
anytime I see an interview over, let's say if an interview is over about 35 minutes, it's going
Right.
to be a solid interview. It's going to be,
Right.
it means they
Yeah.
wanted to spend time, they got through. It wasn't just a promote my album and go, or promote my
Right. Right.
movie and go. It's usually going to be a generally good discussion, no matter who it is, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
I saw his interview was well over 40 minutes, maybe going on 50 minutes. So I was like, oh, okay, they didn't just do a quick
Okay.
promo and push him out. It was going to be, so I actually sat there and I just was going to watch because we were going to talk about this. But I ended up sitting through the whole thing because it was just that engaging.
Okay.
Um,
I
one
didn't sit through the whole thing, but mm-hmm.
No, well, I mean, you have shit to do. You're a busy lady. You have kids. You have husband. You have stuff to do.
Adulting. I'm adulting. I'm
You're
telling you.
you're adulting. You're adulting for three. You're
I'm
adulting for
telling
three.
you, it's like
So I
off
adult
the
for
chain.
myself, so I can I
Yeah,
can
you know what the adulting's like, girl.
um
Yeah,
s-
I
so
saw a little bit of it though, and you are right. It was
mhm,
very engaging.
yeah.
Very. Yeah, but
So
vibes has always been that way when
I
you think
mean
about it.
I mean I don't know. I forgot he's been away for so long.
Well,
So
no, but I remember.
mhm,
Okay, I remember the vibes before he started bleaching his skin. And
mhm,
when he used to do little small interviews in Jamaica, or when he went to New York, or
mhm,
and honestly, he's a character. He's a
yes,
character. You like to watch him, you want to hear from him. He has insightful things to say. So when I saw pieces of this interview, I was like, yeah, that's about right. That's about right. That's about
yeah.
right. But
So
now he has life lessons to teach. So it's good.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, and because if you heard his music, I think well, we're gonna see what changes. I think he just released an album as well, and that's
Mm-hmm.
probably. I think he was promoting it. They were promoting it as well. I don't know if it's a greatest hits type of album, but I think he has a
Mm-hmm.
couple of new songs on there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so here's my highlights from the interview. So I have a family member.
Mm-hmm.
My niece and her husband is in New York right now,
Okay.
bumping to Vibes Cartel. I saw some
Okay.
clips online from yesterday, so it was sold out for both Friday and Saturday,
Wow.
and
Okay, good.
packed to the
Mhm.
brim, Barclays Center. And so I saw some clips on Cardi B's Instagram.
Yeah, I saw that clips too.
And
Yes.
yeah, so a time was had. But I mean, if you saw the concert that he did on Freedom Street in Jamaica on New Year's Eve, then you already knew what it was going to be, right?
Mhm.
Brooklyn
Mhm.
has a huge, huge Caribbean community,
Yes.
and they showed out. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and it wasn't just Jamaican. So let's
No, I mean
let's
that's what I said.
just
I said I
squash.
didn't. I
Yeah,
said
no, I know
Caribbean.
what you said, but a lot of people do seem to think that just because he's a Jamaican artist that
Mhm.
is Jamaicans gonna flood the place. Actually, I saw lots of flags from all sorts of parts of the West Indies. I seen
He's
Guyana.
global. I mean,
He's good, right? Right.
he's
But a lot
global.
of people do seem to think that because it's not that Jamaican people don't love him and they're gonna show up and show out. They will. But
Mm,
everybody was. Look,
mm-hmm,
Cardi B was there. Cardi B is not Jamaican. You know, she has a little
mm-hmm,
West Indian from her mommy, but
mm-hmm.
still, she's not Jamaican. You know what I mean? So I saw a
Yeah.
Guyanese flag. I saw a Trini flag. I saw everybody flag in the place.
Mm-hmm.
So he's an artist that everybody seems to love. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and he's of the caliber of the Beanie
Hmm.
Mans, of the Sean Pauls, and
This
he
is
touched.
true.
Okay, so that's going to bring me back to what I was going to say was
Yeah.
that the gems I felt from the interview that he did with the Breakfast Club, and I'm sure he's dropping gems in all the interviews that he's been doing leading to promote the concert or whatever. But he mentioned like the question, and even Beanie Man was on there not too long ago, and there's a lot of parallels in the questions that they asked them. Two of them was, what do you think of the generational gap, like dance hall now, and I've tried. There are some songs I like, but I'm going to talk about what I'm not feeling about not today's dance hall. But
Hmm.
dance hall now and the younger generation and what he thinks and how he relates to them and what distinguishes him and why his longevity. They asked him along those questions,
Hmm.
and he just said, why his greatness is his longevity. And even despite the fact that he spent 13 years in jail,
Can you
he made
imagine? My
sure. And they
God.
asked on the interview, like, what kept you going with everything that's going on? What kept you motivated? He's like, listen, I have kids and I look after my mother. I have responsibilities. I didn't have a choice I could not wallow into my situation. I literally had no choice but to keep the ship moving.
And it was
And
throughout
so
those 13 years he's in jail. The
he
ship
was
never
really
stopped moving. It
and
sure
never
did.
stopped moving, right? And also, he made a comment about the younger. It was interesting that both him and Beanie Man, even though there seems to be beef, because Beanie Man was the king of the dance hall, but now
Yes. Mm.
people are crowning Vybez Kartel the king of the dance hall. Now, I'm gonna. So when asked about the king of the dance hall debate, he's like, well, he kept it class again. He's very obviously you have to be a wordsmith when you're
Hmm.
an art, especially a Jamaican
Right?
dancehall DJ
Tread
or
lightly. Hmm.
very
Hmm.
good with his words. So he kept
Hmm.
it classy, but he was essentially he said like, yeah, kings. There's when there are kings, there are successions, right? When
Okay.
there is King George, there was King Peter, there is King this. Now the people crown their new king, and that's how he said it. Done and done the talk.
Period.
So
Period.
um
With no bad mind towards anybody. You know what I
it's
mean?
just
Like,
it is
it
what
is
it
what it
is.
is. Yeah, exactly.
And also one asked about the younger generation. He's like, I like them. I think they're trying to figure themselves out. I think they still need to hack how to go global and
Hmm.
go world. I guess we call mainstream.
Right, right.
And I think I agree. I think that's the thing that I find with the new dance hall. It's like, to me, here's what I want to describe it. Me as a Jamaican person, I would say
Hmm.
the new dance hall, like the rough dance hall, not like reggae, not reggae or anything, but specifically dance hall music, is they're trying too hard to be like American hip hop.
Thank
And that's
you.
what I don't like
Finally.
about it. And so
Somebody can agree with me.
it's
Shoot.
not, so it's pretty much just American hip hop or like a combination of London, um what do they call it?
Grunge.
Grunge.
Hmm.
Um or drill or London drill, I would say,
Right, right. Yeah. Hmm.
and then talking and like in rapping in patois. And I'm just like, they don't have that special je ne sais quoi that
No.
made Vibes Cartel crossover, what made Beanie crossover, what made Elephant Man
Hmm.
crossover.
Hmm.
Even and it's not because of the explicit lyrics, because all of the people that I just mentioned have explicit lyrics.
I
There's
I was
there's
gonna say, tell me one artist that doesn't
right. So
have like that's
but
I feel like that's almost the makeup of a song nowadays is to
So I
have.
thought that was interesting, that he
Hmm.
talked about. I loved how he talked about his fiance, um, which there's a lot of debate and back and forth about his fiance and baby mother and all that. But you know what? I think here's my opinion. Once you find somebody when they're ready to in a dark place, they cling to you. And I
Yeah.
feel like he found this woman who, was in London, and in a time when he was in a big darkness, and now that's his light. And so he's decided that's his gonna be his light for the rest of his life. But it's interesting, and I'm not gonna get into that debate.
No.
But yeah, it was. I was, and a last thing that I learned, he is hilarious. This guy
Yeah,
was
Vibes has
busting.
always been hilarious. I'm
This
telling you.
man was busting jokes, especially on Just Hilarious in particular. Just wasn't even ready for the jokes. Just
Of course
wasn't
not.
ready for the jokes. I
No.
know she knows she brings the humor, but he brought the humor
Hmm.
in this interview.
I want you to go back. Go back when Vibes before, and I say this because I feel like he changed a little bit once he started bleaching.
Yeah.
But if you go back to before he started bleaching, when he was a real Jamaican roots man, you understand? Like, was
Yeah.
real dancehall. He is funny as fuck. He's always been funny. He's always had a sense of humor. What I will say is, I think that, you know, God works in mysterious ways, right? And we can't try to understand it. But what he did was he sat Vibes Cartel down for a little bit. And in that time, I think he grew up. And I think he learned a bit more about life, about the industry, about what he wants for himself. I think whatever that situation might have been, whether he was guilty or not, which I'm not going to go into that,
Mhm.
but God put him to sit down for a minute. And throughout that time, he was able to stay relevant. It's one of the few artists that I know today that have managed to stay relevant right through their jail term. Like,
Mm.
I mean, from the day the man licked in a jail to the day the man got out of
And it
jail.
wasn't no small amount of
No,
time.
he stayed relevant. Okay, he had Busta Rhymes making big song coming down to Jamaica into the jail to shoot parts of the video. You know that song, uh, and the melody goes, no, girl, something girlfriend. Anyways, it's a song that Busta Rhymes, one of his latest songs that he
Mhm.
did, and he had Beanie Man in the beginning of that video, and at the end of the video, he had Vibes Cartel. So this is a man who was able to stay relevant right through his jail term.
Mhm.
That's really hard,
Yeah.
especially in Jamaica. This is not,
Right.
we're not talking about the United States when you're in jail and you have, visits, and they even probably have like a producers, area where you could make songs and no, we're talking about Jamaica. So the fact that he was able to stay relevant is awesome. And he came out, and I've been watching him, I've been watching him since he come out. And honestly, he's more humble. He's a lot more humble. He has life experience, and he is not afraid to share it. And I just wanted to note one thing. In my lifetime, I have seen one of the best, or two of the best Jamaican artists go in jail and come out and are still successful. That's Vibes Cartel and Buju Banton.
Mhm.
Those are I haven't seen that before, where they go in a jail for a long time. We're not talking no dibby time. We're talking at least 10 years for each of them. Come, and they're still relevant. People are still listening to their songs. People are still selling out concerts. That ain't nothing but God. As far as I'm concerned, that ain't nothing but God. That you can stay relevant for so long, being gone for so long. And when Vibes left, it was at the height of his career. So, like, for me, when I look at him now, and I saw pieces and parts of the concert, and there was a part where he was singing a song of dedication to God,
Mhm.
and he started to break down a little bit, and you could hear him crackling up. You
Yeah.
could hear it because he's probably looking at himself like, when I was in a jail, I could never even think, sir. I was gonna be standing on this sold out concert. Both of the concerts sold
I
out,
can imagine it's so surreal, and he touched on that. He did touch on that in the interview as well. That
right? And
what?
so
Go
Vibes
ahead.
come out in a white. My man come out in a white fur. You understand? He come
Hmm.
out in a white fur and sing to God first before the concert start. Good. He made sure he dedicated that time to God because God was probably the only thing that kept him going while he was in jail.
Yep,
To be honest,
and he said
so
that.
it was nice that he did that. It was nice to see the different flags that were waving because Vibes Cartel is not just for the Jamaican people. He's for everybody, just like Bob Marley was, just like Buju Banton is. There are some artists that are just meant for the world and not just one. You can't pigeonhole them into one genre and keep them there. You understand? Everybody loves Vibes Cartel. Like everybody. I couldn't believe I'm seeing Cardi B. Cardi B out here at the Vibes Cartel. She's breaking it down. She my girl winding it up, doing her thing. Okay. Spice came on. She made sure she took a little snap, and I'm not fighting over a man,
Hmm.
which is irony. But
Hmm.
anyhow,
I mean, she
right?
did say in the Cardi's video, she did say, "I do though."
And so I was like irony. But
Mhm.
anyhow, it was really nice to see uh his interview. But you know what? Honestly, I could listen to Vibes all day. Like honestly, he's that captivating. He really
Mhm.
is. And I think that he God gave him something special. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Now I'm so interested to see where he's gonna go with this. And I think he has a lot to show these young upcoming artists um, that you don't need to appeal specifically to American people. You don't have to. You can
No,
appeal to everybody. Just be who you are. Just be who you are, and your music will set the tone. You know what I mean? And so it was nice that Vibes is out. Vibes has big concerts. My man sell out twice in Milwaukee in a white fur. Okay, Vibes. I can't wait to see what else happens with you. I just can't. Like honestly, I was rooting for him to get out of jail. How many years? How many years? But it's nice to actually see that he came out. Nobody forgot him. He's just the same success that he was before he went in, and he has a lot of knowledge that he's gained in that time that he's going to spread. And I think the more that we hear from him, the better. And in terms of a dancehall king, listen, some people have this idea that there can only be one. No, there could be several. There could be several different, even acting at the same time. If you think, I'm gonna digress, but just go with me for a sec. If you think about in history, they had multiple kings. There wasn't just one, right? There was a king that was in England. There's a king that's in Africa. There's a king. You understand what I'm telling you? You know what I mean? So there can be more than one, right? But the truth of the matter is that Beanie Man, you have to just step on to the side and let Vibes keep it going. Because ultimately, you know, I think that's the direction it's gonna go anyways. I haven't really heard anything from Beanie Man as of late. I don't think he holds the same weight that he used to. I think if he were to have a concert, we'd see what kind of weight he holds. But I think that there can be more than one, and so they just have to learn how to coexist. Beanie Man, he had his time, you know, and now it's Vibes, and Vibes is taking over the world. I now can't hear from Popcorn. Can't hear no. What happened to Popcorn? Because people were saying that he at one point was gonna be the dancehall king, but now Vibes came in and he took the show. So I don't know. Either way, I think there can still be more than one. I'm so excited to hear that he's out. He's doing his thing. If that's the woman he loves, that's the woman he loves.
Mhm.
Period. So as long as he's not out here, we said this yesterday when we were talking. As long as you're not out here disrespecting black women, I don't have no problem with who you
Yep.
want to love. I don't care
Mm-hmm.
if she's white, blue, purple, or orange. I don't give a shit. At the end of the day, you love who you love, but that does not give you license to disrespect the people of your own culture. That's all I have to say about that. She seems to be riding for him.
Mm-hmm.
She's been riding for him. You know it's not a money thing. You know it's not a money thing because he was brooks when he's in, well, not brooks to the point, but he wasn't making the same money he was making now while he's in jail. He just
Yeah.
wasn't. So she had to be in it for the right reasons. And obviously she loves the man. So if she loves him and he loves her, hey, who am I to tell them XYZ? You understand? So I just hope that they get together and they stay together and he's faithful to her and he can love her and she can love him.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, baby mother, sorry. You know, that's not, he didn't want you, he wants her. That's that. Like, keep it pushing, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, like,
Yes. So, yeah. So it looks like it's gonna be. It's been a great show, and congrats to
yeah.
him on selling out the Barclays Center 2 nights in a row.
And it was a successful concert because we're not hearing any ratata and ray tay tay. We're not hearing about no shot up this and shot up that. We're not hearing none of that. So it's nice that it was a successful concert. You know what I mean? And I can't wait to hear what else is coming out with him. Like I feel like he's gonna drop an album and it's gonna be a big album. I feel
Mm.
it in my bones. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So another person making a comeback is Miss Keri
Here are the
Hilson.
comebacks. Mm-hmm.
Year of the comebacks. Yeah, 2025 is the year of the get back. And yeah, so she also, did it made an appearance on the Breakfast Club this week, I believe. And I was watching the interview just a little bit earlier today. So that interview was almost an
Mm-hmm.
hour. So again,
Right?
it's good when again
Mm-hmm.
here's a hack, guys. If you want to know if the interview is worth watching, if it's over 35 minutes, it's more than
Mm-hmm.
likely going to be decent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Keri Hilson is an R&B singer,
Mm-hmm.
and I was hearing rumors and buzz that I actually saw some buzz online and social media that she was going to be making a comeback. So she said something on her Instagram or whatever. So I guess now she's just rolling out the album. So that's why she's doing a bunch of interviews.
Mm-hmm.
Carrie Hilson is a favorite of mine. If you love
Mine too.
R and
Mm-hmm.
B, if you like 2009 up to
Mm-hmm.
2011, she had a big run.
Yep. Yep.
Her first album, and Kanye was heavily involved. She had a lot of great producers. So
She did.
Kanye was a producers of hers. Timbaland, like she basically had all the super
She had
producers
the
working
dream
with her.
team. She had the
She had the
dream
dream
team.
team.
Yeah, she had the
And on
dream
top
team.
of that, she
Mm-hmm.
wasn't just this muse of all these producers. She was a songwriter before she became famous for singing, because she was
Mm-hmm.
kind of like Money Long, like we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
She had written dozens of songs for other artists that were hits already. And so she was finally got her moment when she did that song. I believe it's The Way I Are on Timbaland's album,
Mm-hmm.
which I love. And if Timbaland, I don't know if you remember, but it's been a while. But Timbaland had released two or three of his own individual albums where
Yeah.
he
Mm-hmm.
featured some artists, and she has a song with
Mm-hmm.
called "The Way I Are," and that was her first big hit as a solo artist, and
Mm-hmm.
that song goes mad crazy. But
Yeah.
forget about that. Her first album,
Right?
I burned.
Ridiculous.
That was a time where we were still listening to CDs. That CD
Right?
got overused in my car. Okay, that CD got
Mm-hmm.
played till it started skipping.
Mm-hmm. Because she's an
Okay,
awesome artist. She's great, man. She's great at what she
right?
does, man. She knows how to write too.
Yeah, knock you down,
Mm-hmm.
energy. She wrote for so many girlies. I was looking it up before we got here, but she wrote for Neo, and Neo wrote for her. Though they're both singer songwriters, but she, in a nutshell, got in. So here's kind of how she disappeared. And I love one of the early questions that they ask her in the interview is,
Mm-hmm.
um, what, like, you've been away for a while, and what was the reason? Was it the industry? Was it personal? Did somebody push you out? Like, why haven't we heard from you in so long? And she was frank and said that, it was intentional. And
Huh?
I do believe it's, I
Yeah, I
believe
believe
so,
it 100%. 100%.
I think because, not to get, long story short, is that she had a song with Polo the Don, and I think it was Turning Me On. I believe it's Turning Me On.
Mhm.
I
I
think
think it's turning me on.
it's so important that it's that I get the song right, that I'm going to Polo the Don. I'm going to make sure I get the song right, because it is literally the reason why, she got a hard time in the industry at one point in time.
Oh,
Um,
right. Right, the comment. Mhm. Well,
yeah.
while you're looking for that, I'm going
Mm,
to say a little piece. So,
mm,
Keri Hilson, honestly, we miss you, girl.
mhm,
We've been missing you. I've been watching to see anything come out with you. She's a wicked songwriter. She is. She's very very talented. This young lady, and to be quite honest, like once you read the line or the song,
mm,
it shouldn't have shut down this woman's career like this, but it did. And it's nice to see that she is going to come back, and I can't wait to hear what comes out because I know it's going to be fire. Like I know it's going to be fire. This woman she's probably had so much to say, and she's going to put it in her music, and I cannot wait to hear her music. Um Carrie, this industry right
mhm,
here, girl, it's really fickle right here. This industry, it's very cutthroat. They will try their best to push you out and do things where it's hard for you to succeed in your career, and I'm just glad to see that you're not letting them stop you, you know what I mean, and that you're still going to put out the good music that we know you can make. um in her short time, this girl was popping when
mhm.
in the height of her career, which was like you said around 2009 to 2000, and I,
11, I
I
would
want to
say.
say 11, 12.
Yeah.
And you were on fire. You were on fire, girl, and nobody could have stopped you except this nonsense. Honestly, I don't think that R&B, when it comes to women, right? I don't think it would have, because I feel like it kind of fell off. Like I feel like R&B from women kind of fell off a little
It
bit.
did, but the thing is, been back for the past
Well,
three or
the
four
young
years.
ones are like, the young ones are kind of, they're trying to revive it. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
They're
mhm.
trying to revive it, but we need someone like you, Carrie, to come and just put a little extra pizzazz on that. Bring people's attention back to R&B, because I feel like a lot of people, they're not paying attention like they should be to R&B. It's such an awesome genre, and the talent is like ridiculous. It's mind blowing. But so was that song? We were correct with that song.
It was Turning Me On. It was Turning Me On.
Yeah, yeah.
Because she said something about to the left, to the left. So obviously it's a, like, because she's it's kind of like a typical of where you hear, like, say, a Nicki or any female rapper, like, "Oh, you bitches, blah blah blah." Like
Mhm.
every female rapper wants to be the best, right? Or every male
Mhm.
rapper too, at that. But it was, there are some generic terms, but because she had says that to the left, everybody decides she's specifically aiming it at Beyonce, right? So
Mhm.
that's the line, but that's not the point. I think the main thing is, yeah. So she got a backlash. The Beehive was even more stronger then than it is even now, because
Yep.
they're old. The Beehive is older. They're a little bit wiser, but you know what I mean. At the time, that was peak Beehive, and she got stung.
Like all
Um,
over.
all
Head to
over,
toe.
right? But what okay, so what I loved about the interview is she addresses that. Of course she has
Yes.
to. She
Yeah.
can't not
Mhm.
when in coming back. So anyway, she first says, like, it was intentional, and it wasn't just, obviously it was the way things going on with her career. She also broke up with, there was a big public breakup with Serge Ibaka, who I think is fine, but
Mhm.
fine isn't
Mhm.
physically. I don't mean as a person fine. Obviously, he's not.
Mhm.
He's a basketball player that is very good looking, so he was probably acting a fool. And she was depressed. I think there's a lot of culmination of things that happened where she decided to retreat from
The
the limelight.
world.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think given her story, I would recommend actually watching it. It's really good. I think she just sounds, it's like you don't need to be an artist or a famous person to resonate with what she's saying, because I think if I were to summarize it, it's like sometimes we live life in one direction, going one direction, and we think that's our purpose, right? And
Mhm.
it probably is, but sometimes you get tired, like we're talking about adulting. Sometimes you
Yeah.
just get bloody tired,
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
of certain blows. And she said she stepped back to kind of heal, get away from the spotlight, find herself. She wanted to, you know, give herself a break. She literally said it was her eat, love, pray. And everybody needs her eat, love, pray, especially women.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So
I
she had that
agree.
moment. And in that moment, she said that what brought her back is she saw that she was in the moment of not living in her purpose. She has a talent. She realized, like, music is my talent, and was my
Mhm.
love. That
Yep.
was my purpose. And I
It's her
felt I
gift. God
yeah,
gave her that
it gave her,
gift.
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
she fell out of love with it for a moment. So she
I
needed
mean,
to
do you blame her?
no, I
Shoot.
don't. So she needed that, but she almost
Yeah.
lost that in taking that break, that love, that
Mhm.
passion.
Mhm.
And this project is a way to get back to it, and align
And
herself back with
that's
her
why I
purpose.
can't wait to hear
It's
because
out now. I need to we can review it our next episode. We definitely
yes.
have to
Oh,
review it for our
okay.
next
Okay.
episode.
I
The,
didn't know it
the
was
album is
out.
out.
My bad. I didn't know it was out.
I
But
think
I'm
she
gonna
just
listen
released
to
it,
it
man.
now because I'm sure she has a lot to say, and I want to hear it through her music.
Yeah. Well, oh, is the album? Oh, the album is not out. It's just a single called "Babe." But the album, she did say the name of it. So when it is out, which I don't think is going to be too long, if she's
No, no,
out
no.
talking to people,
She's doing press run and stuff like that. Yeah,
I
she's
don't think it's going to be too long. But she did mention the name of it. It's called "We Need to Talk." So can't wait.
we
And
need to talk. Look at
mhm,
that. We need to
but
talk.
she actually has a series out where she's talking to herself. So it's Keri Hilson talking to Carrie Lynn as her personal, like, Keri
Yeah,
Hilson is her persona,
persona.
her persona
Yeah.
as an artist, and then her as an individual. And so I feel like the album's gonna have something to do with that, based on the fact that she already kind of had this series on her social media, using this
Right.
format. But anyway, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
excited to hear what she has to say
I
because
yeah, again, I think the larger story is, listen, this girl is like, again, I said I was a fan. This girl literally stepped away for various reasons, but I do think it had a lot to do with just getting tired of the negativity, cuz you're just trying to have your career, and shit's going down, and then her personal life is in shambles, because that was a big breakup. Her and Serge, that was, a lot of people are talking, it was a very negative, a bad breakup. So I'm
yeah.
sure a lot of her depression had something to do with that as well. um but she said something interesting. So that song "Turning Me On" was produced by Polo the Don, who's a long term time collaborator of hers, to be honest.
Mhm.
They've done a lot of amazing things, but she actually told the story of the lyric. So the song was co-written by Esther Dean. Esther Dean is another Money Long and Keri Hilson, in that she's written for everybody. She didn't have her physical glow up, so I think that's why she didn't literally. She does have songs, Esther Dean, but she's known for. I think she wrote Umbrella. She's known for writing a lot, or co-produce Umbrella,
Mhm.
of big
Mhm.
songs that we know of. And Esther Dean came out when that interview came out and said, yeah, and pretty much Carrie didn't mention her name, but she's like, another artist wrote that. And Carrie kept it classy and not mentioning her name. But the lyrics were written by Esther Dean, and obviously the song is produced by Polo the Don, and Polo wanted her to release the song, and she was never comfortable with the lyrics. So it was leaked. She thinks
Yeah.
it was on purpose, and it went hard, because that beat,
Right?
they're turning me on beat.
Like stop.
Listen,
The beat
stop.
the
So
beat
of course,
itself carried the song. Like
so the song went, and she was like, shoot. So she said she always regrets, even though, like, that's why she doesn't mention names, and she takes on the blame, even though there was a lot going on, in that she should, if she really didn't want to do it, she really should not have sung the lyric. If she wasn't comfortable with the lyric as she read it, then she shouldn't have released it. So that's where she's always felt like she had to protect people, even though in turn they didn't protect her when the backlash
they
happened to
didn't
her.
give a damn
And
about
that
her.
and she says that again.
Yeah.
It was a really refreshing. I think it's
Yeah.
just even though we're talking about an artist and they have different lives and they live on they live in very public lives, I do think
Hmm.
there's a lot of life lessons and how she centered herself again. It took a while.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think it
hey.
wasn't, and it wasn't just her career, it was a lot of personal stuff as well. But I think everybody deals with a combination of whatever you do for a living and your personal life and juggling that, and if both of them are in shambles, that can break someone.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And
And to know that you, like, I think for Carrie, something that was probably hard for her to get over is that she didn't want to do it. She knew that
yes,
she didn't
can you
want to
imagine?
do it.
Yes, exactly.
She knew she didn't want to do it, but she did it anyways. And now she became the, you know, the scapegoat for
Yes,
everybody.
she did.
And that's a lot. Like, I understand why it took her some time. If we put the personal aside, I mean, that obviously, just
Mhm.
makes it 10 times worse.
Yeah.
However, we put it aside for a sec, just knowing that within yourself you knew you shouldn't have done something and you did it anyways, and now you have to take the blame for everybody while they get to go on with their careers just
Yep.
fine. Like,
Hmm.
I think that's a hard pill to swallow, but I think it was a learning lesson for her that don't ever let anybody take your voice from you. You don't want to do it, you say no. Period, and walk away. But I understand why she did it. She was young. She wanted a career in music, so she did what she thought she had to do. Okay, and unfortunately, it didn't turn out for her the way that she wanted it to, and I think it was a valuable lesson that she had to learn. And I cannot wait to hear it in her music, because it's going to be in her music. The story will get told in her music.
You know what the irony is as we end this topic? Polo de Don, she did collaborate with Polo de Don on this upcoming project. And of course, Charlemagne asked her the hard hitting question. He's like, "How did that feel?" Or she's like, "I could separate my personal feelings from business. We're music collaborators, and that's what it is." He's like, "How do you?" And the rebuttal was, "How do you think he's going to feel about this interview? He won't like it, but I mean,
It's his turn to suck it up, isn't it?
yeah." So anyway, congrats to her. Looking
Yeah,
forward to the project.
yeah,
She has a
yeah.
single out called Bay right now, but the album's probably gonna come out shortly after. So we'll move on to a quick hit here, just really quick because we already talked enough about Jonathan Majors.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just a quick update because Keke Palmer had on April Fool's Days, ironically and or non-ironically, actually
Mm-hmm.
posted up a promo of an interview with Jonathan Majors, and I think it was just a clip of them doing a this or that, a segment on her pet podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And whoo, the
Right?
backlash was quick
Okay,
and
Kiki.
swift. The backlash was swift.
Okay,
I was, and
Kiki.
people love Kiki.
You,
So I even
love me some Kiki.
I
Okay.
was even like surprised how swift and harsh the maybe I'm naive, but I was really surprised how harsh people were with her on this one. And
Yeah,
again,
Kiki got checked quick. She sure did.
I put my point of view on our one of our recent interviews where we were talking about Jonathan Majors. So maybe that's why my bias. I was like, ooh. But I do get it. Like, I think at the end of the day, somebody literally summed up what I think it is in a tweet and said, "I wonder how she would would have felt if a celebrity were to invite her baby daddy on her show to
Thank you.
kiki and play quirky games after she posted that video of him abusing her." And I
Okay,
think that in a nutshell is the issue.
thank you. Thank you. Nicely summed up. Nicely summed up. Kiki, I don't know what you were thinking, girl. Girl. I don't know what you were
At least,
thinking.
sense came back to her, because the point of this,
Real quick.
why we're even talking about this topic, is she scrapped the interview. Point blank. Yeah.
Time.
Short end of the story. The interview was
Kiki's
scrapped.
no fool.
She didn't even release a statement. It just disappeared.
Kiki is not no fool. Kiki is not a fool. You hear what I'm telling you? She's like, what? Okay, you guys don't want that? Okay, scrap it in the
Yeah.
trash.
So she hasn't said anything, so we'll leave it at that until, if she does, I don't even think she should. Like, let it just go quietly if she's smart.
Well,
So
because I think she said enough by just not playing it. right?
Mm.
Like by scrapping it, canceling it, I think
Yeah.
that was like her addressing it. And so I don't think it would be wise to continue to have a conversation about it.
No.
I think
No.
just let it be what it is. But over here at the Hearts and Minds, we're going to have a little conversation about that. Kiki, I don't know what you were thinking. Too soon, girl. Too soon. Um, Let him go do some work first to have a reason to be on any your podcast. Please let him go do some work first. I know he's out here, he's doing the movies and stuff like that, but let's see the movie. Let him win something. He needs an award of some kind before he comes on your platform. Because you need more to talk about with him than the obvious, right? Than the recent events. And
Mhm.
so Kiki, you know dummy Kiki. Kiki's like, and cancel. Yeah, that was fast. That was a good response though, and I think it was wise. It was
Yeah.
a wise decision. Good job,
So,
Kiki. Read the room.
so
She read the room. She sure did. Mm-hmm.
okay, that she put a period stamp on that, and so we'll leave it there. Um so I've been avoiding talking about Kanye
This
West,
man.
aka
Oh Lord.
Ye,
I
because
just
he's been on a complete rampage for the past month.
ah.
Rampage. He's been going crazy. Kim keeps on bringing it up. I'm like, I can't, I can't do it. He
Because like honestly, I'm gonna bring it up. You know why? Because Kanye, honestly, we need to talk. I need to talk about his ass because honestly, I need to let it out. Because every time that I see him, it's more of a vent than a talk. I'll be honest.
Mhm.
Like, it's more of a vent. What are you? Somebody get him his meds, please.
On a side note, I was recently listening to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and I'm just gonna say that's gonna go up. I don't know. I forgot about that album. That just
Mm-hmm.
shot up to my top. Kanye has about 9 or 10 albums. I would say that just shot up into my top three. Okay, top four. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. But anyway, again, reason why we don't throw away Kanye West. If anybody's always wondering why this guy is still relevant. Um, so he, I'm gonna focus on the apology. He's been doing a lot of things, and there's a lot of reasons. But I'm gonna focus on him. The biggest thing, like even I was shocked. Even with the anti-Semitism and KKK, whatever. This was the most shocking thing he's done to me, and that was called Jay-Z's kid retarded.
Okay.
Like that. I'm
Like he don't
sorry.
know. He don't know who Jay is.
Maybe people
Okay.
on this listening might judge me, but I'm gonna say it's crazy. But for me, knowing the role that Jay-Z played in his come up, it was just wild, whether you like the person or not. For me to call, it's wild to call anybody's kid retarded in 2025, period, point
I
blank.
don't know.
But
I don't know if he has like a death wish out there. I don't know what he's doing.
But I was like really disgusted by that. Like
Yeah,
he's
me
done a lot
too.
of disgusting things, but this is, I hate to say it again, people might be judging me, but this was really up there for me. And so I guess look, it's maybe a week later or two, he has issued an apology. I don't know if this is as of the last couple of days. He could have very well gone on, and I think he has gone on to kind of like do something, say something very offensive again against the Carters, but let's just focus on the apology. So he said, "I'm sorry, Jay-Z." He tweeted this. Um, he tweeted this a couple days ago, Thursday. He said, "I'm sorry, Jay-Z. I be feeling bad about my tweet, but I still feel." You see the but? That's the question, everybody. Did you hear that? But
Ugh.
I still feel I gave my life to this industry and thought so many people were my family. But when I needed family on some real shit, none of these rap niggas or rap ninjas, sorry, had my back. And um Kanye, lots of people we just talked about Keri Hilson. You know when you do when people you realize you don't have friends, you just leave them
Ugh.
in the dust.
Lord.
You leave them in
Mm.
the dust. You pay them dust.
This is why I keep asking the question, Jeanette. At what point? is everybody around the world gonna just look at this man and move on with their day? Like, why? When are we going to, on a whole, ignore him? Because he says things, you know, he is not in his right mind. He's not in his right mind, and the type of things that he will say, and it's like you seem to think that you're the exception to the rule, that nobody could play Kanye, that nobody could say anything about Kanye, that nobody could try to take advantage of Kanye. Please, like you just said, we talked about Keri Hilson. This is the industry. Okay. And unfortunately, there are times where you will be taken advantage of in the industry that you decided to join. So you got backing from someone like Jay-Z, and he helped your career significantly. So for you to come now and talk about the man's kids, really, that's way below the belt. And so I find it hard to have any empathy for him. But I will say I keep holding on to that old Kanye. The first two,
Yeah.
three albums. Yeah.
Right?
I still hold on to that. But I'm telling you, we are watching this man deteriorate mentally in front of us. And I think the saddest part is that we find it entertaining.
I don't find it entertaining.
I
That's
don't
why I don't
find
like
it
talking about
entertaining.
it.
No, we're talking about it, but I don't find it entertaining. But a lot of people do. A lot of people think this is entertainment, and it's just not. Even Kanye. Do you remember when Kanye said he was going to run for presidency?
Hmm.
Do you remember that? And
Yep.
he was going on I guess, a press tour, and he started a rant about Jay-Z. Do you remember
Mm.
him saying, "Oh, you send your goons after me"? Well, now you're giving
Hmm.
him a reason, Kanye. Now you're giving him a reason because Miss Beyonce is pissed off. Okay? And Jay understands he doesn't want his wife to be pissed off. They already started to threaten that they're going to sue you. Okay? So that's why you have to come with this half-ass whatever you want to call this, because it's not an apology. So, Kanye, I think you need to just go someplace and produce music. You need to just go away like Keri Hilson did, okay? Just go away, find yourself, and come back to us healed and healthy. Because this right here, you need to be careful what you're doing. It could get you killed. And you're not invincible. So, like Kanye, I'm starting to be really concerned, not just with mental, like I'm actually concerned that Kanye is calling people to harm him. And I
Mm.
feel like you need to stop that because Jay is just not the one. He's just not the one. I'm sorry. He's not. And Kanye, I don't know what kind of apology that was. For me, if you include the word but, it's not an apology. So you might as well have just shut the hell up. These people they're threatening to sue you, Kanye. And they're powerful people. So I think you need to relax a little bit, bro. I think you need to go sit down someplace. I heard supposedly him and his wife are on the rocks.
Yeah, that's been pretty much
You
confirmed
know?
almost. That's pretty much
Well,
been confirmed almost,
you
yeah.
should be on the rocks since you had her out in the street naked like that
Mm.
in for publicity.
And
And it,
she's probably just like you, like all of us who care about Kanye West, is that you see the danger of what he's doing and it's like, stop it. And he's not. So how can you? It's like a drug. Like we talk about drug addicts. After a while, you can't watch the self destruction.
I'm starting to get to the point where I'll be honest with you. When he made the comments about Beyonce's kids and stuff, that's
Hmm.
when I was like,
Yeah, me too. I hate to say it, but that was
sorry,
it for me.
Kanye, I ain't down with you with that.
Yeah, you don't call anybody's kids retarded. More or less.
Even if they are.
Yes,
Okay?
even if that's what I mean. Yeah, exactly.
Like, first of all, that word, that whole word retarded. Can we come up
Yeah,
to the
we're not
21st century, my friend? We
right.
don't use those words
Yeah,
anymore.
we don't use
Okay,
that word
we
anymore.
don't use those anymore. Since
And
he likes to be a wordsmith, then you should know we don't use those words anymore. Okay. Uh, when he did that, I was like, nah, Kanye. That's when I felt myself like backing away even farther. Like I can't see him anymore. You know what
yeah,
I mean? Like that's how far I've backed away off of Kanye. And I only bring it up because I cannot believe he attacked Beyonce and their kids.
the kids. It's one thing for you
I
to attack Beyonce and Jay
Because
Z,
Beyonce, look on her good internet. She don't business nothing about it. Because she
but
looks at you like you're crazy,
if you
right?
talk about her and both of them, they don't. But the kids,
The
yeah, that's
kids,
ooh, ooh,
and
ooh.
and and
No.
and and, and what gets me every time is that you don't want anybody to talk about your kids, though, Kanye. Nobody is meant to talk about Northwest or the rest of them, Chicago. Nobody's meant to talk about your kids, but you're out here talking about other people's kids. See, it doesn't work like that. It just doesn't
Mm.
work like that. So because he's gone off, he's gone off many a times about his kids. You don't play with his kids. You don't talk about his kids. You don't do this with his kids. But now you're gonna come and talk about Jay-Z's kids. Listen, I all I know is that Kanye has warned us in the past that Jay has sent people, his goons, after him. Let's not give Jay a reason. Okay? He wants to go to bed at night beside his wife without his wife looking at him like, you didn't do nothing to talk about our kids. You're going to sit here and let them do, you're not going to do nothing about. Yeah, he wants a happy home. Okay? He wants a happy home. So he's going to take care of the business. And I feel like you're calling it one way or the other, he's going to take care of you. One way or the other. And when they started to say that they'd sue him for defamation and all these things, I was like, Kanye, how many times can you lose $1 billion? Like, how many times? Kanye, just go sit down someplace, please, please, please. But I'm off of Kanye now, so you might not hear too much about me with Kanye again. Because honestly, all of these tactics to me is just a waste of breath. It's a waste of time. It makes him look real stupid, real ignorant. And when I see black men going on like that, it's a real turnoff. So you might not hear anymore from
Mm.
me about Kanye. Unless we hear that Jay-Z and Beyonce do sue his ass, I will make sure I talk about that conversation. But until then, you know, Kanye,
Yeah,
you really done did it now, man. Really done did it
yeah.
now.
So
So sad.
yeah, we'll leave that there.
Yeah, I'm done
it's
with
not.
Kanye for a while.
It's not going to change. It's
Nah.
antics. So we're gonna move on quickly. Well, we didn't have talk about this in our pre-show, but I did want to bring it up because it was so good, and I was so happy to see Damon Wayans on Club Shay Shay. After we talked about
Yes.
Marlon Wayans on
Yes.
Club Shay Shay, that was
And
great. But
Damon
to
is still
me,
attractive, eh? He's still an
he looks
attractive man,
he
eh?
is to me between him and Sean, they're the most attractive ones.
Okay. Okay.
um. Anyway, yeah, so I what I loved about it is like we know this family is legendary, they're iconic, and from Marlon's interview we saw that. But the thing is, Marlon is very goofy, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's his signature, and we love him for that,
Yeah.
right? But Damon is to me the funniest one in
Out of
terms of
all of
comedy,
them, if you ask me,
and if you ask me, I think he's the most talented outside of Keenan, but
yeah,
Keenan isn't
yeah,
in the limelight like that.
yeah.
Um, but he just kept it real and talked about their family in a way where it was at least a little bit more serious than Marlon, which I appreciated. But he also corroborated a lot of Marlon's stories about their family and the
Mm-hmm.
industry because again, Marlon is so goofy and he's very extra. So you never know if he's just putting
Yeah.
a lot of sauce. But it was very interesting to have Damon there and pretty much corroborate a lot of the
Yeah.
crazy stories about their family and how they were brought up and the industry. And he was very reflective, I think, of the decisions he's made in his career and his personal life. So I was just shouting it out. Really great interview. You should watch it. Go run up that interview. I think it should
Mm-hmm.
be one of the top interviews for Club Shay Shay, and I there was a comment on there that I loved from Vlad, because remember the whole Vlad incident got
Mm-hmm.
Marlon on, I think pushed Marlon to kind of get onto Club Shay Shay and run up those numbers. And I feel like Vlad, again, another, you gave Club Shay Shay another win, because this family was like, we
Mm-hmm.
ain't talking to nobody but Shannon Sharp.
Right?
So yeah, so we'll move on to our last thing that we were going to talk about,
Yes. I was
which
so
was another one of these controversial
I was like,
music lists. And this
oh
time,
no.
this time it's
Whew.
Billboard instead of what's usually Rolling Stone is always the one has lists too, but Billboard has lists. And so recently this week, they compiled a list of the top 25, the best 25, the 25 best female rappers of all time. That all, I have a contention with that phrase, all time,
The
but
all time. That's the
we'll discuss.
controversy. The all time. Mm-hmm.
So they do make a disclaimer that um they have all the people that there's 8 names, I believe, on this byline in the article on billboard.com, and they pretty much make a, I would call a disclaimer that it's according to them. So below, the Billboard staff compiles our picks for the 25 best female rappers of all time along following this criteria. So here's the criteria. So you always have to know the criteria when you look at these lists.
Yes, please.
Body of work slash achievement, so meaning charted singles, albums, platinum certifications, etc. So the numbers,
Right.
essentially. Cultural impact and influence, how the artist's work fostered the genre's evolution. I call this game changing.
Yeah.
That's the word I use, the word game
Mm-hmm.
changer for that. And longevity, very important.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
lyrics, and lyrics, and finally flow. So I think that's
Okay.
a really good criteria. That's a very what
Yeah.
I would say comprehensive criteria. I
Yeah.
think if anything, I think there's too much criteria. You should
Yeah.
pick
They. Yeah.
pick a
Yeah. They could
lane.
have.
They could
Yeah.
have picked a lane that would have helped this list a lot.
Yeah. Because
Okay,
I looked at that list and I'm like,
it very
too much
like the
damn
first,
criteria. Yeah. Too much
yeah,
criteria.
I would say I would say the first 3 to 5 I'm fine with. And then after that, it gets confused. The list gets confusing as hell. It gets
Yeah.
confusing. I think because
Yeah.
the criteria is so broad that it just, I'm like, what? Like, anyway, let's talk about this. So,
Mm.
this is fun. This is a fun topic. So, without a doubt, without question, I don't think there's a contender. Nicki Minaj is first. I don't think there's any debate on that. Right?
Mm. Okay.
On what point do you think
Mm.
there's a debate for her to be number
Well,
one?
here's my question, right?
Because I'm
Answer this for
surprised
me
that you're
first.
contending this.
Ask
Yeah.
this for me first. So, if you follow a blueprint,
Hmm.
shouldn't the blueprint come before you?
No, because remember, it comes through. Remember the criteria. That's what I'm saying. Based on the criteria, that's where my area, and that there's no contention with this.
I think there should have been a swap in numbers. It just. Uh,
At number for number one. Oh,
or a
you know what? This is.
tie.
You know what? It's okay. That's your opinion. That's okay. So you could share.
Yes,
Go
and I
ahead.
feel there should be a tie. I feel that, Nicki Minaj, yes, she was a game changer. Yes, she did the numbers. Yep, she did all of that. Yes. But I feel like she followed the blueprint of Little Kim. Because Little Kim did the exact same thing. Like, verbatim. So that's where I'm like,
Hmm.
maybe there should be a tie for one. Because if you're gonna put someone like Nicki Minaj and she followed the blueprint of Little Kim, then because she was a game changer all the
I
way,
agree. I agree that with that
right?
point.
She
Yeah.
was doing the numbers.
So
Maybe not now. Maybe
but for
not
how
now.
long? There, she had a very limited. If you look at the amount of years,
She
like,
had
because
a
we're looking.
long run though. She did because She was also a Junior Mafia, so she was doing her own thing. Then she was with Junior Mafia as well. I'm just saying, like, if we just take time out of the equation for a minute, right? Like, I'm not. Yeah, they both
And
have
it's
their
okay.
own
It's your
time,
opinion. It's your opinion. That's
right? And
okay.
yeah, okay. So my opinion is that number one should be shared with Little Kim.
Okay.
Yeah. hmm
All
But go
right.
on.
So, so that's
That's
it.
my
That was
only
number one.
issue with from 1 to 5.
Okay. So we then number two is Missy. I'm fine with that.
hmm
I think another game changer who was in there in the game for a long time. I lyrically, but I do think she should be up there. Lauryn Hill is number three. I'm not mad at that.
No,
Because she's literally had one album for 25 years and this bitch is still touring the world.
still
So
to this day,
number four is your number one is Lil Kim.
tied for
Number
number one. Yeah.
Yeah. And number five is Queen Latifah. I'm fine with that. My issue is everything in between gets questionable. So I'm going to keep it going. MC Light number six. Again, I put her, she's a pioneer like Queen Latifah. So
hmm
okay.
Yeah.
Salt and Pepper. Again, game changer. Roxanne Shante, pioneer.
Yeah.
Eve number nine. Mm, um
There should be a switch
To
out.
me, I think Foxy Brown should be higher than a couple of these. Than definitely Eve. Personally,
Definitely Eve. That's what I was gonna say. I think that her and Foxy Brown should have switched out.
Yeah. So
hmm
Foxy Brown is 10. Cardi B is 11. I'll give her that just because of her success. That's fine. I'll leave. That's fine. I'll leave that.
Well,
Number
she's still
12.
relevant. She's still
And she's
very
still
much
relevant. Yeah,
relevant.
I'm
Yeah.
actually not mad at where
No,
Cardi
I'm
B
not. Where
sits.
exactly? I was okay with where they placed her. Yeah.
The Brat is number 12.
That I
Um,
was like, I don't
well,
know if the brat should be that close.
to Foxy. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm just mad with Foxy. If I'm
Yeah.
honest, I'm
Yeah.
mad.
Yeah.
If Lil Kim is number four, Foxy shouldn't be lower than 6 or 7. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
she
sorry.
just shouldn't. I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. Yeah.
Anyway, we'll keep it going as we number
Mhm.
13, Trina. You know what? Me again, Trina, I think American, especially Southern Americans, love a Trina
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Trina had, don't get me wrong, Trina had a moment, but to me,
She
I don't,
did.
maybe, oh, there's only like two or three songs from her that like, I'm like, yes, 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 I know, and that's it. So again, I won't contend it because I don't know enough, but she's had some, like, her relevant, she's still relevant. People still love her, look up
Yeah,
to
but she's
her.
not
She,
relevant so much for music
and
anymore.
not music, and she was
Yeah.
like, like you said, but she is a blueprint
She
for
is. I'll give
people
her
like
that.
the City Girls, like,
I'll give her that. I'll give her
a couple
that.
other girls. I would say she's like, like pretty much the stripper rappers. I think
Mhm.
are like her kids.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. But I really feel like she shouldn't be before Left Eye. I'm sorry.
yes, let's continue, and we'll debate. So Left Eye is 14.
Mm-mm.
15 is Megan the Stallion. Mm,
Okay, I'm cool with
okay,
that.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Doja Cat is 16. I don't know. We can talk about that. As and I'm a Cat fan. This is Rhapsody is 17. That kind of okay. We'll leave that there. Remy Ma 18. Interesting. What did
Well,
they say about Remy Ma?
Rhapsody for me,
Mm,
she's not quite underground, but still
mm.
has
Ye-
undergroundness
she has.
ness to her.
I you know what, you say that and I know exactly what you mean. I
Yeah,
know
like she's
exactly what you
not
mean.
underground, but she's not fully mainstream yet. Like she still has a underground essence to her.
I
So
agree.
I think she should not be so high. I don't like Doja that much because Doja out here running around causing
Yeah, but
havoc.
she's just under Doja. Like Doja is above her by one.
And I
Because
feel like that's no.
you think there
Mm-mm.
should be more
They should have
distance.
switched them too. Yeah, should have switched them too. But anyway,
Okay.
yeah, no, but I just want to say Rhapsody because I've been listening to her and this girl is flipping talented. Like
Yeah.
the talent on this woman is ridiculous. But she still has that undergroundness
Yes,
to her,
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Number 19, Lotto. Mm. Number 20, Money Love. Number
Mm.
21, Glorilla. I don't even think she should be on this list. I'm
I
sorry. As
was
much as
gonna say
I
the
love her
same damn
down,
thing.
but
Yeah.
I don't even.
I'm so
Um,
glad you said that
Number
because
22 is Lady of Rage. Again, I love her. She is a pioneer, but for as far as I know, she has one or two songs. I'm sorry.
and
Again,
it was well over 20 years ago.
we'll debate. Number 23 was Gangsta Boo. Okay, I'll keep it moving.
Yeah.
24. Number 24 is Dochi. Here's my thing. I know she's very new. Her career, in
Yeah.
terms of her being famous, it's really only been 4 years where she's really broke out. 4 or 5 years where she really broke out with her music and really was hyping up. And like obviously this last year was her big year.
Mhm.
Um, but I still think that just be based on what she's accomplished and what she's done and her talent and her thing, if she's going to be on this list, she could be a little bit higher. But again, and then finally Tierra Whack. Again, I'm actually a fan of her. I love her music. She's a Philly rapper, very animated, very cartoony. I would put her in the essence of Dochi, but just less sexual, I think.
Right.
Um, so again, I think I get Dochi. Okay. Here's my contention: if Lotto's going to be on this list, she needed to be on the bottom. I'm sorry, Tierra Whack and Dochi have more talent in their pinky. I'm sorry, Lotto. I don't have anything against Lotto. I get why she's famous, and she does have a couple songs, but she is not touching an inch. She's not even touching a foot of Dochi.
And I want to say something about Lotto. Okay,
Mhm.
it's not that Lotto is not talented. I
No, she
don't. It's
does.
not that I
She's
don't
worked.
think
Mhm.
she's talented. But what I'm about to say might rub some people the wrong way. We didn't really know or give a shit about Lotto until she jumped on a Mariah Carey beat. Period. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to call a spade a spade. Lotto was doing some things. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna take away from her. She was doing some things. However, people didn't really start paying attention until she jumped on the beat that Mariah Carey made popular.
Mhm.
When she jumped on that beat, what is it? What Big Dick Energy or whatever the
Mhm.
song is
Yeah.
called? That's when people started to really pay attention to her. And I always have a thing with, artists. I love the fact that they'll use other people's music and they'll take others, beats and
Mhm.
whatever, whatnot. But then you have to understand you need to come with your own shit and you need to follow up with your own stuff. You need to push your own stuff in the forefront once you get the attention, right? And I feel like Lotto shouldn't be that low down on the list. I feel
Yeah,
like
that's an
Dochi
insult.
has
That's
a
one of my
lot more
biggest.
talent.
That's one of my biggest contentions. If you're gonna have Lotto and Dochi on this, Lotto, Dochi, and Tirawak, let's just focus on these three. Lotto's ass should not be above Dochi. That's all I gotta say.
No. And if I were to put her somewhere on this list, she wouldn't be before 21. She
Yeah,
wouldn't
I
be
agree.
before 21. Lotto, that is.
Yeah.
I think that Dochi is extremely talented. Like that girl, she just spews talent. And it's just like how can you ignore it, right? And to be honest, she's actually changing up the game a little bit right now as we speak. And her relevancy is very much it's in your face, right?
Mhm.
So, Lotto, I'll be honest, it's not that you don't have skills, but you don't have them type skills. You just, at least I haven't seen it from you, right? And so Dochi and you need to switch spots. You need to switch
I'd be
spots.
comfortable with that. Completely
No,
comfortable.
I would be no. I need it. It needs to happen. It's necessary.
Like
If this
I
list is gonna
understand
be
why
legit,
Dochi I understand why Dochi needs to be lower on the list because she's newer, she's very fresh, but also there's when we talk about the only thing out of that criteria that she's not hitting on is longevity because she just really got here in the last few years.
yes, but in
Everything
the last
else,
few years, she was able to do it on her own.
she's
She didn't
literally the
have to jump
only
on no popular beat to do it.
I mean, she it's funny. She didn't. You know what's funny that you say that? Is she didn't, but it's she has a song called Anxiety where she's sampling
But
that.
she's sampling that song, and I just want to put it out there. That song didn't do a Mariah Carey
That song
numbers.
was huge
It
though.
was huge, but it
But it,
never ever did Mariah Carey numbers.
I mean,
Mariah
listen,
Carey is attached to that song. Like when you think of that song, you instantly think Old Dirty Bastard and Mariah Carey.
yeah, I'm not debating. I'm just saying.
No, I know, I
I'm
know,
just
but
drawing parallels.
there would be people who would think
I'm just
on a
drawing
similar.
parallels. That's it. So yeah, so and then what's another contention? Like, so again, I'm not happy where Dochi's in this list as if we're comparing to Lotto. Another thing, I mentioned some of the older rappers which are taking spots that I feel that Dochi should have been in. So like somebody like a Money Love or like
Mm-hmm.
Lady of Rage. I'm sorry, but like yes, they were because pioneering is an important thing, but the difference between say a Lady of Rage and a Money Love and like a Queen Latifah who's a little bit higher up in the list, I'm is the fact that if you were here 25 years ago and you have listen to this day, we're gonna bust out a UNNTY,
Right?
we're gonna bust out a who you calling a bitch.
Right?
So that's where Queen Latifah can hold on to that spot because she had songs that have surpassed the 30, not even 25, 30 years, early 90s, 30
Yeah, I
years,
know.
people still busting out those lyrics. So
Yeah,
yes,
well, she
but
was one of the first to do it.
I
Mm-hmm.
can't tell you a thing about Money Love. I
No.
hate to say it, MC Light as well. I don't even know the song.
MC Light,
I know she's a
they
pioneer.
always gravitate to mentioning her because she was one of
Mhm. A
the
pioneer, of
beginners.
course.
I get it, and I get it, right? Now, don't hate me for this, but I feel as though there should be like a time cap for this.
Hmm. Hmm.
If you haven't let go of a popular song in the last 20 years, you should not be on a list like this.
Hmm.
I'm sorry. And I love me some Queen Latifah, like you just said. I'm the first one. I'm the first one. Okay. However, I think that they're only putting her on this list
Hmm.
because she was the pioneer, and it's like, how do you not give the pioneer respect, right?
Yeah, I agree. You know what it comes down. I think you can't have somebody like Dochi on a list with somebody like Queen Latifah. I'm sorry.
But if you
It's
look at this list, all of these
it's
rappers
all over the
are in the
goddamn place.
last 20 years. Like in the last 20 years, these rappers have either come out or have, done the big song, the pop star or rap stars.
Hmm.
But I'm talking like Queen Latifah and MC Light. We need to put the pioneers and let them have their own category.
Yeah, I agree. That's what's wrong with this list because of course no one's gonna agree with this list. No one. No
Well,
one's gonna
it's the
agree with this. It's
controversy of
too
it
it's
all.
too it's too broad. It's way too broad. But it was fun to talk about.
Oh,
How
and one
okay.
other thing I wanted to say is
Mm-hmm.
now I love me some Debrat. I love me some
Ah,
Debrat.
yeah, yeah.
I
Mhm.
do. But she's again in that category. There should be a time cap. If you haven't put out a song that's made it big or not or whatever, put out a song or an album in the last 20 years, you don't get to be on the Billboard's top 25. There's a
Mhm.
different list for you. Debrat needs to be on that list. Queen Latifah on that list. Some of these older heads up in here on that list, you know, because at that time you were popping, and you made a stance on the music industry and the rap industry. And like at that time, you all have your own place. But I feel like there needs to be two different types of lists here that we're talking about, and when I see someone like Queen Latifah, on the same list as Gorilla, I'm like, huh? Now I love me some Gorilla. I love her down. But again, you two is on the same. I find it hard to have those two on the same list.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. But anyhow,
Yeah.
everybody on this list. What I will say is that everybody that should be on a list is on a list. Is on this list. You know what I mean? Like people that we
Yeah.
should actually be considering to put on a list are actually on this list.
Yeah.
You know, so I'll give them that. I'll give them that much. But we need a time. We need a time frame.
Yeah, because it makes it difficult to accept the list because you're just like, how the hell are
Right?
you gonna have the brat
Okay.
on the same list
When last you heard the brat put out something?
as Tierra Whack?
Okay.
How the hell are you gonna have the same list with Lauren Hill? I'm
I
sorry, I'm gonna say it.
the one
That's the
song.
brat.
The
Even
one.
though they were kind of peers, they were in the 90s too, 90s or whatever, late 90s, mid 90s. Anyway, yeah,
It
so it
is
was
what it
interesting.
is.
It
Yeah.
is what it is, and I here's what I'll say: these lists, I feel like they're clickbait. They're designed to get, what do they call it? Rage bait. So they're designed to get people all up in arms, and people were. I wasn't, based on the criteria, I was just like, this criteria was bullshit. You needed to choose two of
Right?
the criteria. You
We
needed to
have too
choose
much
two
damn
of these.
criteria. Okay, we
Yeah,
need
that's
to
how you
limit
have
it to three.
a jumbled list like this. But yeah, so that's it.
Yeah, and all in all, you know what? It was fun to talk about these ladies, and I feel like when they come up with these lists, what they're really trying to do is let us not forget about who
Mm.
these women are, and for us to remember a time and talk about these. It's publicity. If you ask me, it's keeping a lot of these women still relevant because a lot of
Hmm.
people don't even know, you know, what Queen Latifah did outside of acting. A lot of people don't
Yeah,
even
that's true.
recognize her as a
Hmm.
rapper because that's how she
Hmm.
came in the biz. Now she's doing all sorts of stuff where you forgot that. But anyhow, either way, it was fun. It was nice to talk about all of these ladies. And at the end of the day, they're all talented. They
Hmm.
are in their
Yep.
own way. And
Yep.
so, and they're doing big things where they're on the Billboard 25. So, now that we've had a chance to discuss that, I hope to see more new artists come on that list. For big things that they're doing too, because it seems like there's really no criteria. Because this criteria, the criteria, it goes on for days. Anyhow, but either way, we do hope that your hearts and minds were activated on this week's show. So whether you lead with your heart or your mind, please stay passionate and thoughtful. We'll talk to y'all real soon. Bye.
Bye.